Hi guys, thanks for joining me for some moments of mindfulness today. So let's talk about our brain. Let's talk about what happens when our amygdala gets activated. When our amygdala gets activated, there is a hormone called cortisol that gets released into our bloodstream. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Cortisol is very helpful if we are actually in danger because cortisol is what helps us run faster or be stronger. However, cortisol is not helpful to us when we are going about our normal daily lives. So we want to be able to pay attention to when our amygdala has been activated, and we want to quickly move into our prefrontal cortex so that our body will know that we do not need to continue to release cortisol into our bloodstream. Okay, so before we talk more about our brain and about cortisol, let's go ahead and get started with our core practice. Sometimes when we're doing our core practice, our mind is more active than others. And no matter how much we try to focus on our breath, we keep getting distracted. Different thoughts keep popping into our head. One trick that I like to use whenever that happens is to say to myself, breathing in when I'm breathing in, and breathing out when I'm breathing out. So today, when you do your core practice, go ahead and say in your mind, breathing in when you're breathing in, and breathing out when you're breathing out. And just pay attention and notice if that helps your mind calm down a little faster. Okay, let's get started. Let's try the core practice. Okay, so go ahead and get ready to focus on your breathing. Make sure that you're sitting up straight. Go ahead and settle your hands in your lap or on your table. Go ahead and close your eyes or pick a point on the floor to focus on. Remember, we want our bodies to be still, and that will help our mind to be still. Now this time, while you're focusing on your breath, if you find yourself getting distracted, go ahead and think to yourself, breathing in, breathing out. All right, let's get started. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. How was that? Did you find that it was easier to stay calm and keep your mind quiet when you said to yourself, breathing in and breathing out? That's something that you can try anytime you're trying to calm your mind, but you feel like there are lots of thoughts floating in and out all at once. It's a good way to focus your mind. Okay, so let's go back to cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone that is released into our bloodstream when our amygdala is activated. Now, if we're in danger, or even if we are trying to perform something athletically, let's say we're trying to run further than we've run before, cortisol might help us to do that. Or if we're in danger, cortisol might help to get us quickly out of danger. However, in our regular day, we don't need the stress hormone to be going through our bloodstream because it actually makes us nervous, it makes us fidgety, and it makes it hard for us to concentrate. So how do we stop the release of cortisol when we don't need it? Well, guess what? It's pretty easy. The first step is to be mindful and just notice that it's happening. Just notice that your amygdala is activated and say, oh, my amygdala is activated, but I'm not in danger. I'm okay. That's the first step, and sometimes that's the only step that you need to take. Sometimes just noticing and saying to yourself, I'm safe, will take care of the issue. However, if you still feel stressed, if you still feel that your heart is beating a little faster, or you feel a little sweaty, or you feel a little shaky, then you can just take 3 deep breaths. And sometimes if you take the breaths slower, then it works better. So what I like to do is breathe in for 3 and hold for 3 and breathe out for 3 and hold for 3 and breathe in for 3. And I like to do that. I like to count to myself and do that about 3 times. 3 seems to be the magic number in this case. So the reason that we practice mindfulness is because we want to start paying attention to what's going on in our brain. How are we feeling? What are we thinking? Are we setting ourselves up for success? When we're trying to concentrate, when we're trying to learn something new, when we are trying to accomplish a specific task, we want to make sure that we are using our prefrontal cortex. And an easy way to do that is to stop and take 3 deep breaths. We've also talked about another way to do that, which is to stop and think about a favorite memory. You know what? I have a story for you guys. Last week, I woke up and I realized that my amygdala was activated, and I decided to think of a happy memory to go ahead and move into my prefrontal cortex. But guess what? I was so scared that I couldn't even think of a happy memory. My mind went blank and I just was completely scared. So first I had to stop and take 3 slow breaths. And as I was taking those slow breaths, I was able to calm down a bit. And then I was able to think of a happy memory. I was able to move into my hippocampus, think of that happy memory. And as I thought of all the details of that happy memory, I was able to relax and deactivate my amygdala. So when your amygdala gets activated, when you're being mindful and you notice that you want to move out of your amygdala and into your prefrontal cortex, sometimes the first thing that you need to do is stop and take 3 deep breaths. And luckily, that's pretty easy to do. You can do it anywhere, anytime. And then if you still feel stressed, you can move to a happy memory. You can go into your hippocampus and think about all of those details of your happy memory. And as you think about that, you'll actually release dopamine into your bloodstream, which is a feel-good hormone. It's the opposite of the stress hormone. So it actually helps you to relax. It gives you those warm and fuzzy feelings that everybody enjoys. It's a really great strategy, and it's a really, really great tool for mindfulness. So I certainly hope you'll try it. Okay, your assignment today is to think back to the last time that your amygdala was activated. When do you remember your amygdala being activated? What was it that activated it? What were you scared of? What felt scary? I want you to think about that and think about all the details, and I want you to write down what happened. And I want you to write down, did you notice at the time that your amygdala was activated? Were you mindful, or are you noticing it now when you're thinking back? Either way, right now, you're being mindful, because to notice what's going on in our brain or to notice what has gone on in our brain in the past, that's being mindful. So go ahead and think about a time recently that your amygdala was activated and write about what happened. Write about how you handled it. Remember, there's no wrong answer. Being mindful is all about just noticing what's going on. All right. Until next time, I sure hope you guys lead your best lives, find your bliss, and oh my goodness, don't forget to pay it forward.